Welcome to Power to Unlocked. Today we're diving deep into a topic that has fascinated and unsettled people for centuries, the harsh truths and sharp warnings of Niccolò Machiavelli, the infamous philosopher of power and politics. What if I told you there are certain behaviors so dangerous, so toxic, that Machiavelli himself called them unforgivable? Things no one should ever tolerate in their lives or leadership. These aren't just old political ideas locked away in dusty books. They are timeless warnings, still strikingly relevant in our modern world. Imagine someone close to you, a friend, a colleague, or even a leader, acting in ways that slowly chip away at trust, respect, and harmony. We all encounter difficult people, but some behaviors cross a line. Machiavelli's insight shows us exactly which actions are so damaging that ignoring them can cost you everything: your peace, your position, your future. And today we'll uncover the 7 unforgivable behaviors he warns us to never tolerate. But who was Machiavelli, and why should we listen to a man who's been labeled a villain, a realist, even a prophet? Machiavelli was a diplomat and thinker from Renaissance Italy, living in a time of ruthless power struggles and shifting alliances. His writings, especially The Prince, reveal a raw and unfiltered view of human nature, one that cuts through politeness to expose the ugly truths about power, loyalty, and betrayal. He taught that understanding these hard truths is essential to survive and thrive in any environment, whether it's politics, business, or personal relationships. So, what are these unforgivable behaviors? Are they acts of betrayal, deceit, or cruelty? Or do they hide in more subtle ways, like manipulation, arrogance, or cowardice? The answer will surprise you. Each of these 7 behaviors strikes at the core of human trust and respect. They are not just mistakes or bad habits. They are dangerous signals that something far worse is at play. In this video, we'll walk through each unforgivable behavior, unpack Machiavelli's warning behind it, and explore why tolerating even one of these can be your downfall. Whether you're leading a team, managing a friendship, or just trying to protect your own peace of mind, knowing these 7 behaviors will change the way you see conflict and power forever. But beware, this is not a comforting list. Some truths we uncover may hit close to home or make you question the people around you. And by the end, you'll face a difficult choice. How far will you go to stand against these toxic behaviors? Will you ignore the warning signs and risk everything? Or will you learn to spot and act before it's too late? Stay with me, because the story we're about to tell goes beyond simple advice. It challenges how we understand loyalty, control, and self-respect. It will expose the dark side of human nature that Machiavelli dared to confront, and reveal the power you hold when you refuse to tolerate what must never be forgiven. The 7 unforgivable behaviors are closer than you think, and once you see them clearly, you can never look away. Today, we expose the 7 behaviors that must never be tolerated. The silent poisons that lead to the collapse of your throne, your reputation, and your trust. If you're a leader, if people follow you, or if you're building a life that can't be easily destroyed, stay with me until the very end. And if what I'm about to say touches a truth you've been denying, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with the people who need to wake up. Because sometimes survival isn't about how strong you are. It's about how clearly you see what must never be tolerated. Part 1. Betrayal in times of crisis. Many say loyalty is something measured over time. Machiavelli didn't agree. For him, loyalty isn't about months or years. It's tested in moments of crisis. When the skies are clear and the money flows, anyone can promise loyalty. But when the ship shakes, the storm rages, blood spills, and flames spread, that's when true loyalty shows its face. You've seen it, the ones who toast your victories, laugh with you, clap you on the back, as if they would die for you. But when you stumble, when power falters, they vanish, like shadows erased by the rising sun. No calls, no messages, only chilling silence that screams louder than any words. Worse still are the ones who come back later, wrapped in apologies and excuses. I didn't know what to do. I had things to handle. I wanted to help, but don't believe them. Silence speaks louder than empty reasons. Someone who abandons you once will do it again, if you let them. Forgiving betrayal out of weakness sends one message to your whole circle. There are no consequences for betrayal. From that moment, loyalty is no longer genuine. It becomes conditional, based solely on your power. Surrounded by those who don't admire you but calculate whether you're worth following. You are no longer a leader. You are just a figure being weighed and judged in a storm. You don't need an army. You need one person who stands with you when everything collapses. One person worth more than 100 who vanish when the winds rise. Machiavelli said betrayal isn't personal, it fractures the foundation of power. Because when your people see you can be abandoned, they believe you're no longer untouchable. Your power stops being a certainty, it becomes a role waiting for someone else to claim. Remember this, no one stays loyal to a leader left isolated, and the one who disappears when you need them most will be the first to stab you in the back when you're weakest. They will wear your colors, sit at your table, nod in your presence, but vanish when their strength is needed most. You might think they had a good reason, but Machiavelli would look you in the eye and say, absence is a statement. It needs no words. It is a choice, and that choice is never accidental. So when you call and no one answers, when you fall and no one reaches out, don't seek reasons. Remember faces. If you survive, never let those faces return to their old places. Every time you forgive someone like that, you write a new rule for everyone else. Loyalty isn't required, just good timing. That's not how you build an empire, that's how you rot it from the inside. Part 2. Cowardice in leadership. Nothing is more dangerous than a coward sitting on a throne. You might think ruthless enemies, secret conspiracies, or shadow betrayals destroy kingdoms. But Machiavelli made it clear. The fastest way to dismantle a kingdom is to put a leader in charge who fears his own power. Cowardice doesn't always show in trembling hands or downcast eyes. Often, it hides behind fake morality, camouflaged as careful deliberation, wrapped in excuses like, "We need more time to discuss." But really, it's avoiding responsibility, hesitation when action is needed, quiet fear that one wrong decision might cost everything. A leader like this destroys not just his own credibility, but spreads doubt through every level below him. When the man at the top refuses to command, when his eyes constantly seek others to decide, when even the smallest decisions demand unanimous agreement, trust collapses. You don't need enemies then. The kingdom will tear itself apart. Imagine you're a general on a battlefield. The enemy closes in. You look up at your commander and see hesitation, second-guessing, stalling. Every second lost could cost lives. Would you still follow him? Or would you start planning your own escape? Fear spreads like sickness. It seeps from the top down, shattering order. Machiavelli understood this. Every hesitation is a knife to the heart of the system. An army doesn't fear enemies. It fears a commander who doesn't know what to do. Leadership is not about waiting for certainty. It's the art of acting amid doubt. No one can guarantee the right decision, but strength means taking the risk when it matters. At that moment, when every eye is watching, when silence hangs heavy in the air, the true leader steps forward and says, "Move forward." Not because he's fearless, but because he knows that if he shows fear, everything falls apart. Some fake morality to hide fear of action. They speak of peace, moderation, ethics. But look closer. They're not afraid of doing wrong. They're afraid of doing right, because it's hard. A true leader doesn't hide behind councils or endless meetings. He doesn't wait for someone else to decide. He knows power belongs not to the one waiting for certainty, but to the one bold enough to act without it. That's the only thing keeping power alive in a world that never stops shifting. action, decisiveness, clarity. If you want to keep your throne, keep their trust, you must act first and explain later. Above all, never let fear disguise itself as calm restraint. People may respect a ruthless leader, but they despise the one who lacks courage. Part 3. Flattery disguised as loyalty. There's a certain kind of person who never disagrees with you. They always nod, they always praise, they always say, "You're right." And strangely, they're the sweetest danger in the halls of power. Machiavelli feared the enemy in front of him less than the one behind him. He feared the flatterer, the one who always told him how great he was. Because enemies keep you alert. Flatterers lull you into illusion. Flattery is poison. It doesn't kill instantly. It slowly erodes judgment. It destroys inner strength. It turns a leader into a puppet of his own ego. Flatterers aren't loyal to you. They're loyal to the opportunity of being near power. They don't tell you what you need to hear. They tell you what you want to hear. Once you start enjoying it, you lose the truth. You think you're supported. But really you're surrounded by mirrors, reflections of yourself, where every opposing voice is drowned by fake applause. A true leader doesn't need sweet words. He needs warnings. He needs people brave enough to say, "You're wrong." True loyalty can be uncomfortable. It dares to challenge. It dares to push back. It says the things you don't want to hear because it cares about your survival. Flattery is manipulation. It doesn't stab you. It disorients. It strips away your standards. It makes you lose the ability to judge yourself. When a leader becomes addicted to praise, he becomes blind to danger closing in. Because no one dares warn him. No one dares confront him. No one wants to ruin the praise party. Then when the shock hits, when power collapses, those who praised you first will be the first to leave. Because they were never loyal to you. They were loyal to your strength. And when strength disappears, they switch sides with the same flattery, same face, same voice. Machiavelli warned, never confuse a flatterer with a loyal ally. A loyal person might make you uncomfortable, but they will never let you self-destruct. A flatterer, once you fall, will vanish. Or worse, lead your execution while wearing the same soft smile. So take a good look. Who always agrees with everything you say? Who never says no? Who always knows the perfect moment to compliment you? That's not an ally. That's a parasite feeding off your pride. If you want to hold power, be strong enough to hear the truth. Be sharp enough to spot the sweetest lies. A compliment at the wrong time can be far more dangerous than a timely knife. Part 4. Publicly challenging power. Power isn't just about weapons, laws, or titles. It lives in the belief that the person in charge is untouchable. That belief is fragile, but it holds empires together. And then all it takes is one mocking laugh in public. One joke made about your orders in front of a crowd. One man bold enough to challenge you, not behind closed doors, but in the spotlight. In that moment, your power is cut for the first time. Machiavelli knew this well. A public challenge doesn't have to overthrow you outright. It only has to plant a seed in people's minds. If he can speak out, why can't I? One doubtful glance, one whispered rumor. Suddenly the crowd smells blood. No one attacks with swords anymore. They attack with questions. They don't need to lead a rebellion. They just need others to start thinking you can be replaced. Once people stop believing you're untouchable, they begin testing your limits. They ignore your orders. They criticize you bit by bit. They push boundaries just to see what you'll do. And if you do nothing, if you laugh it off, if you let it slide to preserve your image, you've just lost the most sacred element of power, fear. Power doesn't need cruelty, but it demands that no public defiance goes unpunished. Because the cost isn't just an insult. It's the look in the eyes of those watching. It's the silent question in their minds. Is he really in control? A public challenge left unanswered doesn't just cost respect. It gives every other rebel permission to follow. And just like that, you're no longer leading. You're on stage, where every word is weighed. Others begin to play critic. to steal the spotlight, and you, the one who once directed the play, become a supporting actor in your own story. Some will dress themselves in morality. They'll say they want to improve the kingdom. They're not against you. They're just speaking truth. Don't be fooled. Anyone who publicly places their virtue above your authority is quietly claiming your throne. Don't be distracted by eloquent words. Don't be deceived by the crowd's silence, because if you allow it, if you don't act, you've handed your challenger the most powerful weapon: precedent. Once precedent is set, it becomes a path for every opportunist waiting in the wings. A protest left unpunished is a public license for the next one. You don't need to crush every disagreement. You don't need to punish private opinions. But any public defiance must be addressed, not out of ego, but because every eye is on you. They're not listening to your words, they're watching your reaction. And from that, they decide, are you a true leader, or a man desperately clinging to a throne slipping through his fingers? If this message speaks to a truth you've felt but never voiced, hit like and subscribe, because there's more to come. Part 5. Ingratitude after mercy. In the world of power, your enemy isn't always the one who opposes you openly. Sometimes it's the one you saved, the one you lifted with your heart and influence, the one you believed in. And when the storm hits, they're the first to drive the knife into your back. Machiavelli warned, nothing erodes power faster than ingratitude. Why? Because ingratitude isn't just forgetting a debt. It's a silent declaration that your kindness means nothing, that what you gave, sacrificed, protected, it's not worth loyalty. And that's the coldest betrayal of all. No swords, no noise, just silent withdrawal. When you're weakest, the ungrateful feel no guilt. They feel entitled. They don't see loyalty as a moral bond. They see it as a transaction. When the transaction ends, they believe they owe you nothing. Worse, if they see your position shaking, they won't just walk away. They'll use their former closeness to you. Whisper to your enemies, I used to be close to him. I know where to strike. The most painful part, you opened the door. You trusted them. You gave them a platform. Now they stand tall enough to tear down everything you built. Machiavelli didn't say stop giving, but he said never invest in barren ground. Never grant mercy to those who lack gratitude, integrity, and principle. Mercy isn't just kindness, it's a tool. When given to the right person, it builds allies. Given to the wrong one, it feeds parasites that corrode trust from within. Ungrateful people are loyal to no one. They take, they use, they consume. But they never protect, they never preserve, they never return loyalty. You'll see them everywhere at the top, swarming like bees to honey. Their words overflow with gratitude. Their actions make you feel like the most important person in the world. But when the spotlight fades, they disappear faster than the word thank you. If you're lucky enough to rise again, they'll come back. Same face, same voice, with a new plan to gain your trust even further. Machiavelli advised, never let gratitude become hope. Let it become a test. And once the test fails, never test again. Ungrateful people don't change. They only get better at hiding. How do you recognize them? Watch how they react when you stop giving. They distance themselves, go cold, stop caring. Because to them, you only have value when you have something to offer. When a leader tolerates ingratitude, when you continue to feed traitors, you don't just lose resources, you lose the foundation of your power, because the one you raised knows your weak points, knows how you think, knows you forgive too quickly, and they will use that knowledge to finish you. Remember, gratitude cannot be demanded, but ingratitude must be punished. Never give a second chance to someone who once betrayed you, because if you do, the entire court will learn a dangerous lesson. This treason is allowed. If this message hits home, if you've been betrayed by those you helped, subscribe. There's more to uncover. Part 6. Ambition without loyalty. Ambition itself isn't bad. Machiavelli said, "Ambition is the engine of empires. It pushes the mediocre to rise. It gives the weak courage to break limits. It is the fire inside a man who wants more than fate handed him. But ambition without loyalty, that's a hidden blade aimed at the heart of power. A man with ambition and no ties serves no one. He belongs to no one. He respects no one. He may perform brilliantly, speak well, please every faction, remain neutral in every dispute. But that neutrality is a mask. Beneath it lies a soul loyal only to himself. This is no ally. This is an opportunist waiting for his moment. He doesn't rebel openly. He watches. He records your every mistake, every hesitation, every foolish belief that everyone is on your side. And when the throne trembles, when doubt creeps into the hearts of men, he will be the first to rise as the new solution. He doesn't want to serve power, he wants to replace it. If you're in charge and you spot a man with talent, will, but no long-term loyalty, be careful. You have two options: bind him tightly to your destiny, or destroy him before he becomes a threat. Because once he grows strong enough, slips beyond your control, his very existence threatens your reign. These men are masters of hiding. They never openly disagree, never speak too loudly, never show their cards. They're so polished, you mistake them for harmless. But in truth, they're waiting for your slip. They'll help only when it serves them. And when you truly need them, they vanish. You'll notice them rejecting compliments in public, but seeking validation behind closed doors. Avoiding commitment, but always present when power shifts. They are shadows. Silent, patient, never gone. Machiavelli taught, never let ambitious men roam free too long. Tie them down with interest, fear, and a future bound to yours. If you can't control them, don't let them rise. Don't be fooled by skill. Don't be blinded by temporary usefulness. No matter how brilliant, a man without loyalty is a ticking time bomb in your kingdom. Ask yourself, will this man stand with me if I lose power? If you're unsure, he's no ally. He's a candidate for your throne. And when the time comes, he won't steal your power with noise. He'll take it as if it was always his. If you know someone like this, charming, neutral, always in the middle, leave a comment. You're not alone. And if this changed how you see those around you, subscribe. We're only beginning to uncover the truth about power, betrayal, and how to stay awake among those who smile while waiting for your fall. Part 7. Using morality as a weapon. Some people never raise their voices. They don't carry swords. They don't openly rebel. Yet they bring down the strongest empires, not with violence, but with a weapon called morality. Machiavelli saw this dangerous game long before it became common. He understood that when morality is used to attack power, it's no longer about integrity. It becomes the mask of ambition. There are those who march under banners of justice. They speak of transparency, compassion, kindness. But look closer. They don't care about truth. They care about who sits on the throne, because when they challenge you on moral grounds, they don't want change. They want your place. It's the oldest trick in politics. Win the people by asking questions like, is he truly good? Don't we deserve better? They don't want answers. They want doubt. Once a leader is forced to explain, justify, prove innocence, his authority shakes. A ruler should not be chosen because he's moral, but because he's strong, decisive, able to maintain order. But moral manipulators know this. Society prefers nice over effective. So they use the crowd's expectations of goodness to target power. They create impossible ideals, then condemn you for failing them. They say you're heartless, that you lack compassion, that you've grown cold, all while secretly counting the days until they can take your place. The most dangerous part. If you respond, you're a tyrant. If you stay silent, you're guilty. It's a trap. You cannot win, only lose, in small pieces or all at once. This is why Machiavelli warned, never let morality become the rope tightening around your throne. Never let the crowd believe that a tearful speech can force you to surrender your position. Because once you give moral judgment emotional power over authority, anyone who can pretend to care can replace you. When you allow one person to weaponize morality, you face not one enemy, but a wave of others. They learn the script. They realize you don't need justice. You just need to perform. You don't have to be cruel to be ethical. But if someone pretends to be virtuous just to destroy you, you cannot afford softness. Don't let poetic speeches distract from truth. Real morality is quiet. Fake morality demands an audience. The truly ethical speak in private. They advise quietly. But those on stage calling you out publicly, they aren't there to correct. They're there to replace if you don't act. If you tolerate these saints with a taste for preaching, your throne becomes a podium for someone else's performance. If you've been manipulated by moral weaponry used to shame, control, or guilt, leave a comment. We must call this game by its true name. If you want to dive deeper into these psychological strategies that bring down the strong, subscribe, because there's still so much no one dared to tell you. Final message from Machiavelli. We've walked through 7 behaviors no leader should tolerate. Not because they're loud or obvious, but because they quietly destroy power from within. Betrayal in crisis. Showing loyalty only exists in calm weather. Cowardice in leadership, turning a strong system into chaos. Flattery disguised as loyalty, lulling leaders into false dreams. Public challenges to authority, breaking invincibility's illusion. Ingratitude after mercy, twisting kindness into weakness. Ambition without loyalty, creating hidden threats. Using morality as a weapon, turning leadership into a public trial. If you lead, build, or hold a position others look up to, etch this in your mind. True power isn't about being liked. It's about knowing what can never be forgiven. Because the moment you tolerate betrayal, flattery, public defiance, or ingratitude, you're not just forgiving a person. You're writing a new law for everyone watching. And when you act, you may find no army, no allies, no one truly loyal. Because they all learned one thing from you. You did nothing. Loyalty isn't required. Only good timing is. That's not how empires are built. That's how they rot, from the inside out. Under the softness of a leader, too afraid to draw a line. Machiavelli didn't teach cruelty. He taught clarity. Because power, if not protected with sharp vision, will be eaten alive by those smiling at your side. Collapse doesn't come from outside. It comes from what you choose to ignore. Watch closely. Learn the difference between true and false loyalty. Punish early, so you don't punish often. Never let your throne become a hot seat for anyone bold enough to challenge you in the name of virtue. If you're still here, I believe you're not someone manipulated by smiles or tears. You want truth. You want to keep your position, not by being nice, but by standing firm. Hit subscribe. We will keep exposing masks, breaking down the psychology of power, learning how to become a man who cannot be overthrown in a world where kindness is weakness and strength is all that remains respected.